tagliata, messa fuori, c'è Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tacco, tiro, gol!
Hello and welcome to the AC Milan Talk podcast. I'm your host, Amit Paul, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Jason Brand. JB, how you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. Doing good.
Good, man. Right, so it's a first for us. We're doing a special player ratings after Milan's 3-0 win over Crotone tonight. Before we get into the ratings though, Jace, just a quick word on the performance in general. Comfortable 3-0 win. Obviously, the game changed dramatically after 5 minutes with the sending off. Yeah. But Milan looked impressive in the first half, stepped off a little bit in the second when the game was safe, but what a way to start the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think, great. Can't complain about a 3-0 away win, especially. Again, the only thing, like you just mentioned there, stepped off in the second half. I would have liked to seen us, just really turn the knife in and, get a bag full, really. You're playing a team who, all over them, they're down to 10 men. And have been for since 5 minutes. So go for it, man. Get 5, get 6. Let's make it a really good start of the season. But you can't complain about a 3-0.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. No, I mean, I think that was the only negative that I could pick out, really. Just that, they didn't play with the same intensity after the break. Kind of settled for the 3-0, which is fair enough. Like I said, first game of the season. Let's just take the win, the clean sheet and move on. But it would have been nice to see a few more goals. Just as the major positive for me, though, Jace, was just the composure and the kind of class and technical quality on the ball that they showed. We moaned about it a lot last year about the players not being there to kind of dominate possession but go somewhere with it, be creative. Even with the likes of Rodriguez at left back, Kessie in the middle, obviously Suso, Hakan, so many players uncomfortable on the ball. It was just brilliant to watch them knock it around with confidence for a change as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we kind of alluded to this during the pre-season. We could see, especially like you say, players like Kessie coming in there, just adding that little extra bit of quality, and we kind of did call this, didn't we? Just a kind of refined Milan, or more refined Milan, I should say.
Yep, absolutely. Let's take credit for that, Jason. Me and you.
Yeah.
Good man. Good stuff. Right, so let's dive straight into the player ratings. Kick things off with Donna Rumor. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, purely down to the fact that he was a spectator for the most part. But as we saw in the Europa League qualifiers, he's making a really useful habit of making some top saves, important saves, and we saw one in the first half and right at the end. So for me, he deserves credit for kind of maintaining the concentration, even though he's not involved in the game for large periods. So 6 fair for you, Jace, or do you think he deserves more for stepping up and making those saves?
I've gone slightly higher. I've gone with a 7 for those very reasons. I think it's harsh on goalkeepers when it's such a commanding performance and they don't have to do much. They're kind of been punished for the fact that they're back for excellent. But yeah, I think the fact that he did pop up with 2 very important saves, I think he deserves a little bit more credit. But a 6 isn't unfair. I think I'm just maybe a bit too generous.
No, James, I think I'm a bit too harsh to be honest. I think listeners are going to find out soon. They're going to disagree with me on a few, but we'll see. Good stuff. Moving on to right back, Drea Conte. I've given him a 7. It's just in terms of his energy, he was brilliant. Up and down the right flank constantly. I think he probably would like to be a bit more influential from an attacking point of view, but that will come with time. I still, obviously being replaced by Abate in the second half, he's still not fully match fit, I don't think. But for me, decent shift. I'm going to give him a 7.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, like you say, both him and Rodriguez, but we'll get to Rodriguez later. I think they show great energy going up and down, which is what we need, really. And again, it's a shame that he couldn't play the full match, but I'm looking forward to a lot more to come from him during the season.
Absolutely. I'm going to let you take Bonucci first because I think I might raise a few eyebrows with my one. But Bonucci, Jace, what are you giving him?
I've given him a 6. I think decent performance. The opposition weren't the best, and obviously after 5 minutes they're down to 10 men. But I think didn't make many mistakes, if any at all. But I think just kind of outshone by the other defenders. But it's still, 6 is fair, I think.
Fair enough. I've actually given him a 6 as well, and I thought that was being a bit overly harsh, but no, I feel better about it now, Jace.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, same reasons. I didn't think he didn't make mistakes as such, but I think he had a couple of issues with Budimir, and he was a little bit off of his passing at times. I thought he was, he's confident enough to step up and spray a 40-yard pass forward, but didn't always find its target. So I'm not saying it was a terrible performance at all by any stretch of the imagination, but yes, a positive outing overall, but 6 for me because I don't think... And I'm judging it on his high standards as well. We expect a certain sort of performance from him, don't we, to be completely error-free, commanding, everything perfect. So I think even he would probably give himself a 6 if he's being critical of himself. So let's go. We're both going with a 6 there. Moving to his partner in defence, Matteo Musacchio. I'm going to give him a 7. Because similarly to Bonucci, I don't think he made any mistakes as such, but he looked a little bit more assured on the ball, defensively. Just he swept up without fuss, and I think that was a really, really solid Serie A debut for him. So I've given him a 7.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not. I'm not going to. I don't want to give him a 6 because I think he did perform a little bit better than Bonucci, but I'm a little reluctant to give him a 7 because I don't think he performed as good as Conte. But benefit of the doubt, I'll go 7. Again, same reasons. I thought it was his debut in Serie A, solid performance. Just again, more of the same. I think there'll be a lot more tougher tests to come, but I think he definitely performed well in today's game.
100%. Just very quickly before we move on to Rodriguez. Does that present a problem for you? Because we're assuming that Montella will eventually go to a back 5 like we've been discussing, or a back 3.
Yeah.
Where does this leave Romagnoli? Because obviously Bonucci's going to start, he's the captain. If Musacchio keeps impressing, as he has done throughout pre-season and in the qualifier, surely that's going to be a big problem for Romagnoli coming back into the team. Yeah,
I mean, we talked about this with other positions, but it is a good problem to have. From the team's perspective, obviously Romagnoli's not going to be very happy, but that should then be an indication to him that he needs to step it up in training, and if he does get an opportunity, he needs to show Montella that he's undroppable, essentially, which is only going to benefit the team. But I can see if Musacchio carries on the way things have been going, pre-season and now in this first game, then it will definitely be very difficult for Romagnoli.
Certainly will be, Jace. One to keep an eye on, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Moving on to Rodriguez then. What are you giving him?
I've gone 7 again. I think him and Conte, like I said, were very good up and down the flanks. He probably could have gone a little bit higher, but I think, solid performance, got up, did what was needed to do. Solid defender as well as, we mentioned, very comfortable on the ball and carrying it up the pitch. So, yeah, solid 7 for me.
Yep, agreed. 7 for me as well. Echo your thoughts there. Comfortable on the ball. Looked comfortable as well defensively. Nullified the threat on the left side. And, yeah, like I said, worked well with Conte. I think when one bombed forward, the other one held back and it almost formed the back 3 with Bonucci and Musacchio. I think they did that really well. So, fair play to both of them. Good performances on both flanks. Your man Frank the Tank, Jace. I'm hoping Frankie. You're going to agree with me, but let's see what you're giving him.
I've gone. This is a difficult one, but I've gone 7. Yeah,
interesting.
Maybe a little harsh, but I think if I'm giving him higher than that, then some other players are going to be up in the 9s and 10s, which I don't think anyone deserved a 9 or 10 today. But yeah, Kessie, solid performance. Obviously got the first goal from the penalty spot. Was brilliant in the middle of the park, commanding up and down the pitch, doing what we need him to do. But the opposition has made it difficult for me to give some top ratings. But I think, everyone just played solidly. I think there was no real... Well, I'm not going to say no real outstanding performances because I did pick one guy out. But I think, again, solid. Kessie did everything that was needed of him, but he just wasn't stretched, really, I felt, by Crotone, which is no fault of his, but we just need to see those solid performances carry on, I think.
No, that's a fair assessment. I've given him an 8. But I will start by asking or stating that someone needs to check his passport and see if he's really 20, because the physicality and the maturity that he plays with is unbelievable. There was moments where I think he was getting dragged back at one stage and he didn't even break stride. He just continued with a guy hanging on his back. There was one where he shoulder barred someone and the other guy went flying halfway down the pitch. This guy's unbelievable. But yeah, I think, like I said, tougher tests to come, and we'll see. We'll have to see him step up against the better opposition. But firstly, goal, great penalty, commanding, standout performance. For me, I've got to give him an 8. So that's Frank.
Fair. Yeah.
Moving on to Locatelli, I don't know whether you think this is going to be harsh, but I gave him a 6. I think it was I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but he did well defensively in terms of giving that protection to the back line. But I just felt that at times he wasn't so comfortable on the ball. There were moments where he got caught out, got picked up the yellow card obviously as well for the late challenge. And I almost feel like it's a knock-on effect of having the likes of Bonucci and Musacchio behind him, because they're more than happy to pick the ball up and play forward, where I think that may limit Locatelli slightly. So for me, nothing, incredibly wrong with his performance, but just a little disappointing for me. So I've given him a 6.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, definitely. Like you say, the yellow card didn't help, and, misplaced some passes throughout that game. But other than that, I think he tried to give a good performance. He was quick, tried to get in there. I think, like you say, having Kessie in there, it just doesn't look as good, does it?
Yeah.
It's very difficult when trying to kind of score not only their performances but their performances in comparison to their teammates. I think a 6 is a fair. Given that I gave Kessie a 7, I can't be giving him higher than that. But yeah, he had a solid performance. Just a little things he needs to get out. But it's only the first game, and I'm sure he'll improve as the season goes on.
Certainly hope so. Let's see this week. Hakan, your boy Hakan, Jace, what are you giving him?
Yeah, again, very good debut. I felt. I went with a 6 though.
Yep.
It's going to sound a bit harsh. I felt he just wasn't in the game as much as I'd like him to be, but I don't think he did anything wrong. He kind of, I don't know if it's, again, this is his first league game. It wasn't a particularly difficult game, but I think he did show certain qualities that we will need. He just didn't get to show them enough. I think needed to do more for me.
Yeah, fair enough. That's fine. I went with a 7, which is, I think, I've probably been a little bit generous. I think he's probably a 6.5, if we're being realistic. But you're right. But I think there's an element of him still working on his match fitness. I think he's not fully there yet. He looked good in parts. There's a bit of class on the ball. He played a nice few balls over the top to find his teammates and stuff, and set up some attacks. I just feel as though he's still lacking a little bit of sharpness, and in time, with a bit more playing time, he'll come good, if you like, and be more influential on the game. So yeah, 7, bit generous. I probably agree with you on that one. I'll meet you halfway on 6.5, but all good. Suso, Jace, for many probably the standout man of the match. Is he for you?
He was up there, definitely. I mean, getting the goal, getting an assist as well. Had a great performance. I've gone with an 8. I felt, like you say, many would say he was man of the match. Great goal. Start with the assist. I thought the assist was great, for one, and very well taken goal. And like you say, all round performance was good. Can't fault him. Obviously, he's had a hand in 2 of our goals from open play.
Yep.
So again, I don't know. It's difficult to put into words, but I've just felt more of what we kind of expected from him.
Yeah.
In terms of, we talked about in the preview, we thought it'd be important. His ability to kind of cut defences open and get balls into the forwards, and he did that. So I was really, really pleased for him, and hopefully this continues. Yeah,
absolutely. Couldn't agree more with that. Great assist, like I said. Bagged the goal for himself. Overall, impressive performance. He was a constant threat, a creative spark, if you like, on that right side. And again, I'll completely agree with you. I think we do look to him to break down these organised sides, that little bit of quality in the final third, and he produced it this time around. So for me, he gets an 8, and hopefully he can maintain that form and continue to be a real key part of this team. So all good. I'm guessing if Suso didn't get your man of the match, the next man did, or I might be wrong, who knows. Patrick Cutrone, Jace, what are you giving him?
Yeah, I've given him an 8, and yeah, he's also my man of the match. I felt obviously he scored the one that Suso set up, and then he set Suso up for his, and he also won the penalty. So
Yeah.
I felt, the young kid as well, man. I was really impressed with his running and his energy. We talked about needing that energy up top, and he definitely brought that today. And I just really impressed. I wasn't expecting him to have such a massive impact. I know I've kind of talked him up in the past during pre-season and hoping that he could, come on when teams are tired and have that impact. But to do that from the off, I wasn't really expecting that from Cutrone. So I was really impressed with him, and I've given him man of the match for that reason.
Good man. What was the mark out of 10, sorry?
It was 8, yeah.
Yeah,
8.
cool. Yep, I've agreed. I've gone with an 8, and he would be my man of the match too. Again, echo all your points. The thing that kind of stood out to me the most was that he's effectively, I think, dismissed any doubts or kind of question marks over whether or not he can play a role for this team this season. There are still transfer rumours flying around that he might go out on loan, but this was more than enough proof for me that he should stay, and he has got a big role to play. He can be effective, he can be decisive, even in a league match like this. So brilliant display. Like I said, involved in all 3 goals. Love to see more of him. Let's Andre Silva and Kalinic obviously will have something to say about that, but
yeah,
very positive start for the young man. And
where does this put Silva for you then? Should Silva start the next game, or?
I personally would. I think, he looked, we'll get to him in a second, but I think he looked good off the bench. He's missing the goal, of course, but
yeah,
I think you spend that much money, you look to someone to be your kind of leading figure up top. I know Cutrone's in good form and he's constantly delivering and he's answering questions, but I personally would go with Silva against Cagliari next weekend. But I don't know, do you agree, or do you think Cutrone's done enough to deserve to hold on to that spot?
I think it's a bit harsh to drop him straight away. But I do take your point. You have spent a lot of money on Silva, and like you say, he did look pretty decent once he was on the pitch. So, it's a difficult one. I'm just glad I'm not Montella, I'll tell you that.
I think me too, mate. He's going to make some difficult decisions coming up in the next week or so. But I guess with the rotation as well, it helps for now. This opening fortnight of the season, you've got the Europa League qualifiers on a Thursday. Cutrone probably will drop to the bench for that one. Silva comes in, I guess, and then Sunday comes round again. You may have to swap it round again with Kalinic involved as well. So,
yeah,
like you said, last couple of pods, Jace, difficult, sort of decisions, but good ones to have in the sense that you'd rather have the depth and the quality to choose from rather than having a lack of depth. So,
yeah, true.
All good from Montella's side of things. And I'm going to allow you to wrap things up in terms of the starting 11 and give me your mark for Mr. Fabio Borini.
Fabio Borini, I gave him a 6. Felt he did okay. He tried to play with energy, I should say. Just completely outshone by everyone around him, but he did a job, which I think 6 is fairly average. Didn't make any massive mistakes. Didn't do anything overly exciting, but yeah, just a solid performance.
Fair enough. I've actually given him a 7. I don't know whether I just feel sorry for him or not, but I feel like he did what we expect of him. Like you said, it wasn't anything particularly exciting. There wasn't any real moments of absolute quality from him in the final third, but worked hard for the team, pressing, running in behind, did all the things that you'd expect from him. And I think he did look fairly dangerous in attack. Again, he didn't do anything to unlock Crotone as such, but overall I think it was a positive outing, and for what he is and what he brings to their team, I think it was a job done for him. So I'm going to give him a 7. So I look forward to hearing all the abuse in the comment section after.
No, I think I can see your argument. He did. He was a great resource for the team. Like you say, he did put a little bit of pressure on defence. But I'll take that. I'll take that.
Good man, Jace. You're making me feel better, Jace, but I still feel as if there's a tirade of abuse coming. So we'll have to wait and see. We did mention him earlier, so just a quick word on the substitutes now, starting with Andre Silva. What are you giving him?
I gave him a 6. I felt, came on, did well, but like you say, he missed that chance. So can't really rate him higher than that, I feel.
No,
Or
agreed.
is it what you say? Yeah.
No, absolutely, I agree. I've given him a 6. I think I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 now, but there was definitely 2 great saves from Cordaz as well. Give him credit, but you kind of feel the position that Silva was in, he should have bagged at least 1 goal. So yeah, I'm being fairly critical that he probably should have got a goal, and I would have marked him up to a 7 in that case. But positive impact, but just not good enough to creep up to a 7 for me with those misses. So 6 for Silva. I've also given a 6 to Abate, just purely for the fact that he came on, gave Conte a well-deserved rest, and didn't do anything particularly of note, just kind of shored things up at the back. So 6 for Abate. You?
Yeah, I agree with that. It just came on, did what was required.
Exactly, so all good on that front. Jose Mari doesn't get a rating from us because he didn't even play longer than 12 minutes, I think it was. So not enough
Yeah, I
time
think
to really...
came on, 78 minutes or something like that?
Exactly. So I think it's a bit harsh to rate him on a 12-minute cameo performance. So we'll leave him be until another time. But yeah, Jace, good way to start the season. Like we said, then at the top, 3 points, 3 goals, clean sheet. Not much more you can ask from the opening day of the season, right?
Oh, no, definitely. I think if someone had offered this result before the game, I would have snatched their hand off.
Absolutely. So hopefully, start of things to come. We've got Young Hong Lee at San Siro for the Cagliari game next weekend. Second leg against Shendia on Thursday night, should I say. So lots more to look forward to. Busy times, but wouldn't have it any other way. Happy to have Serie A back in your life?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
Good man. There's people talking about the Premier League. So inferior league. Good stuff, Jace. No, so we'll be making this a regular thing. So listen out next weekend for the player ratings from the Cagliari game. Jace, I think that wraps us up for now, unless you had anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we've covered it all.
Good man. So until next time, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye to the people.